Hey, this is Bob Fitzgerald. Basketball is an action-packed, lightning-fast sport full of quick moves and split-second decisions. And ESPN NBA 2K5 is no different. The only way to keep up with the action is to know every move available on your controller. This set of videos will get you familiar with controlling your players and your team, how to make high-percentage shots, and prevent your opponents from scoring. The more you know how to play, the better your game will be, so let's get started. Every game begins with a tip-off, and gaining early control of the ball can seal the win in a close game. An icon will appear at the top center of the screen, showing the square button on a slider. The button starts off in the middle, but soon it'll start moving toward the opposing team. Tap your square button as rapidly as possible to pull the icon to your side of the meter. If the icon is on your side when the referee throws the ball, you'll win the tip-off. If it's on your opponent's side, they'll get first possession. Taller players will need fewer taps to win the tip-off, so be sure to have your tallest player make the jump. But even if your player is a little shorter than your opponent's, tapping the square button fast enough will earn you the ball. If your opponent is a lot taller, no amount of tapping will win, in which case, get ready to play defense. During play, your left analog stick will move the player with the control icon. When on offense, this will usually be the player with the ball. So in this video, we'll talk about ball handler controls. The ball handler will dribble automatically as you move him around the court, so you're free to move him anywhere so long as you don't stop moving the ball. Just be careful not to step on a line for an out-of-bounds penalty or a backcourt violation. Pressing R1 will turn on your player's turbo, making him move faster. Every player has a limited amount of turbo, and if it runs out, you'll go back to moving at normal speed. Release R1, and the longer you wait, the more you'll get back. Some players use and recover turbo faster than others, so be careful about where and how much you use. Press the X button to pass the ball to another player. Passing is directional, so you'll need to move the left analog stick in the direction of the receiving player. If you'd rather use your buttons to pass, press the R2 button to turn on icon passing. A button will be assigned to each player, and pressing the button passes to him. Passing the ball can give the opposing team a chance at stealing it, so make sure you have a clear passing lane. A double tap of the X button will give a leading pass, so the receiving player can take control of the ball while charging toward the basket. Press the square button to shoot the ball. When you shoot, your player will jump, then release. Your chances of scoring are best if you release the square button at the peak of the jump, but a late or early release can score too. Some players are naturally better shooters than others, so while a shot from outside might be easy for some, it's nearly impossible for other players. A good habit is to make sure that most of your shots are made by your best shooters. Your other players should be doing everything they can to give your shooters a clear shot. If a defender tries to block your shot close to the net, press the square button again in midair and move the left analog stick to change the shot. Each direction on the stick will trigger a different change, so move in the direction away from the blocker for the strongest shot. Another way to clear your shot is to call for a pick. While a defender is guarding you, click the left analog stick to get a teammate to stand at the defender's side. Once the player is in position, move around him so the defender guarding you is held back. This should give you a moment to take a clean shot. The triangle and circle buttons execute special moves that are part of ESPN NBA 2K5's ISO Motion Squared controls. Watch the ISO Motion Squared video to get information on how to use these moves. There are special plays in ESPN NBA 2K5 your players can run by using the play call menu. Press the L2 button to bring up the menu, and each face button will be assigned a special play. Press the button for the play you want, and your players will get into position. The default plays are quick, basic setups, but you can use more sophisticated plays by changing the coaching options. Press the Start button to bring up the options menu. In the coaching menu, choose Playbooks, then choose the offense playbook type. In this menu, you'll see all the different plays available to your team. Find the one you want, then assign a button to it. The directional buttons can also control your team by changing their playing style. Moving up or down will increase or decrease the tempo. A higher tempo means playing away from the net for more fast breaks. A lower tempo means playing closer to the net for more rebounds. Higher aggressiveness means more steals and block attempts and usually more fouls. Lower aggressiveness means conservative play with fewer risks. Knowing how to make a basket is important. So is knowing how to prevent the other team from making one. Defense is half of any good basketball game, and the same goes in ESPN NBA 2K5. Just like on offense, when you play defense, you control one player at a time. You'll always start by controlling the man playing the same position as the ball handler. So for a tip-off or an inbound, you'll play the point guard. Pressing the X button switches control to another player on your team. You'll switch to the man playing the same position as the ball handler, letting you follow the ball as it gets passed around the offense. If you're already controlling the closest player, you'll take the next closest. If you want to control someone else, press the R2 button for the defensive icon switch. The other 4 players will get assigned a button. Press the button to switch control to that player. Hold down the R1 button for turbo to get between the basket and a ball handler, or keep up with a running player. Players run slower when they're dribbling the ball, so you should be able to keep up with any ball handler. When you turbo, you face the direction you're moving in, but when you're not turboing, you face the ball. That's important to remember when guarding someone. Be sure not to use turbo when you're looking to block a shot or steal the ball. The circle button has your player swipe at the ball. Swiping the ball can free it from the ball handler's grip and open the rock for the steal. The best time to swipe is when the ball is close to your player and being dribbled. If you swipe and the ball handler has both hands on the rock, or when he has the ball away from you, you may make contact and get called for a reach-in foul. So be sure to time your steal attempts carefully. The square button will have your player jump, which can be used to either block the ball or catch a defensive rebound, depending on the situation. Just like with offensive rebounds, the best place to catch a defensive rebound is on the rebound icon. Time your jump carefully so that your hands are close to the ball at the peak of your jump. Also, like offense, you can affect how your team plays using the directional buttons to change the aggressiveness and tempo settings. There's also a separate set of defensive plays available in the play call menu by pressing the L2 button. Use these plays to improve your chances at containing your opponent. You can change the plays in your play call menu by going to the Options, Coaching, then Playbooks menu, and choosing your defense playbook. Assign your favorite defenses to the 4 buttons. ISO Motion Squared gives you total control over your moves, opening up your game. There are many motions available to you, and different ways to activate each one, so it's important to get familiar with them and know where each is most effective on the court. ISO Motion Squared has 2 ways of triggering each move, either by using a combination of the left analog stick and a button push, or using the right analog stick by itself. The only exception to this is the hop step, activated when you press the triangle button. The hop step has your player take a leap toward the basket, setting his feet for a better shooting position. You stop dribbling when you hop, so the position you take will be final, but it's a great way to get inside for a high percentage shot. The core ISO Motion Squared move is the crossover, which switches the ball from one hand to the other. Use this to keep the ball away from defenders when driving to the hoop. Press the circle button while pushing the left analog stick to switch the ball to the left or right hand. You can do the same move by pushing the right analog stick, left or right, without pushing the circle button. If you turbo while performing a crossover, you'll make a spin move. A well-executed spin move can get you around a defender without slowing your drive to the basket. You can do a similar move when you turbo and press the triangle button. If you move the left analog stick away from the basket while pushing the circle button, you'll perform a step-back move, walking away from the basket while facing it. This can put space between you and the defender guarding you. It can also be performed by moving the right analog stick in the same direction. Use this to set up a fadeaway shot. The step-back move can also be used to protect yourself from ISO motion defense. When you perform a hop step or a crossover drive, the defense can try to stop you by getting in the way and drawing a charging foul. If you see a defender get in your path, the step-back move will cancel the move and prevent the foul. This is only necessary if the defender gets into place and sets his feet before you reach him. When playing defense, press the triangle button to get in the way of the ball handler making an ISO motion move. Your player will move into position automatically as soon as you press the button, but you have to press it early, otherwise you'll be too late and be called for the blocking foul. When you step up to the charity stripe, a free throw icon will appear in the corner of your screen. Push in the left and right analog stick to stretch the arms across the icon. Push until a space is formed between the tips of the arms. The tips don't need to touch, and they can overlap a bit, as long as there is space formed between them that the ball can fill. Once you've made the space, press R1 when the moving ball is red. You'll see the icon flash, then disappear, and if you get everything right, you'll make the basket. Otherwise, be ready to rebound the ball. The ball will move faster or slower depending on the free throw ability of the shooter. You can practice your free throws by going to the game mode screen, entering practice, and choosing free throw. Free throws often make the difference in a close game, so be sure to get plenty of practice. That's good advice all around in ESPN NBA 2K5. Use standard practice to get your shots down, your defense tightened up, and your iso motion squared polished. Once you're comfortable with all the controls, you'll be ready to walk away with your own NBA championship trophy. This is Bob Fitzgerald, and I'll see you on the court.